Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Well, all four doors are complete. We'll get a closer look at them. Then we're going to get on to that rear quarter. So I hope everyone had a great week. And yeah, been a little bit busy through the week here. Ended up finishing off all the doors. And this is the door that we left off there last week that I want to just do one more quick coat of primer on. As you can see, with just a little scuff of 320, that all the spots where the body fill were is now gone. It's just that really rough area that makes it show up. So it is now complete and looking prime. And the other one over here, the same thing. Got it done up and looking good as well. Now, next step, I guess. I've kind of been not really putting it off, but got hooked on the doors and couldn't stop, is to address this side of the car. So we got the rear quarter to do here, of course, to complete that. Then we're going to try to get this front fender done as well too. Well, time just flies by. It's actually been a couple weeks now before I was going to address that corner just like that. It's a couple weeks later. And just going back over a few things here. We'll get on to the other side of the car here in a minute. But I'm just going over, looking for big problems. Yes, there's going to be the odd little, like this. There's a little pinhole here, and I got a couple there. Those are little minor things that I'll be using glazing putty to take care of. What I'm looking for is stuff like this here. I don't know if you can kind of see that when I move the camera. There's a spot here. This will need a little more attention before I get into the small stuff. The doors, they're pretty good. There is this one, completely, I don't know what I was thinking, but look at that. Didn't even see that until I threw that primer on. You can kind of see it here, just the clip just before this, but I never even noticed that. And as you can see, I have been busy. Rear quarter, front fender's done. I'd say about 95%. Two issues I ran into. So I ended up doing the top this quite a few times, and I finally got it to where I'm happy with it. I've got my shapes, got everything done. The bottom half of the fender's in nice. But you can see right here, I don't know what I was thinking. I guess the problem lies, same thing's going to happen back there. Got too many different colors of body fill and at different stages. And the nice line that I was block sanding and saving, it looked like it was good, and it dropped. And it kind of made a weird shape in there. And then I started trying to rework it, but it was too late. I tried to do a little bit of the Bondo when it wasn't quite ready, so it's made a mess. Now I completely finished the fender because I actually went on vacation, and I didn't want to leave this in the bare steel, so I coated over it. It requires work. Now back here, we went through and I resanded everything on the back here. The rear quarter is awesome. It is, we won't say flawless because I'm definitely not an expert by no means, but that is damn good. My problem is, I thought I had a nice edge here, but this turned out horrible. It's just nothing but a wave, and you can't even really feel it that much. But before the primer went on, it was just the different shades of a body fill. It looked like I had a good straight line, and I never really paid real close attention. I didn't put an edge across it to see what it looked like. I thought, we'll just blow it in there with a little primer, and that's what I ended up getting. And then, of course, right here, there's a big bump. It kind of dips down. It's low here, or there's lower here, then it goes up, and then it comes back down. And this is actually where I've welded in the piece of metal, so I got to work on that some more. That's why this is so nice here. This is original. This whole edge, about 1 inch, I made and welded in there, but it definitely requires some more work. I will be removing that primer and redoing that. But all in all, things are doing great. The weather looks like it's going to be great for this weekend. I want to get this car outside. I got to get this hood done, or the roof, sorry. and I want to kind of do it, hopefully do it all in one day. So it's supposed to be in the 25 to almost 30 degrees on the weekend. I'd like to roll this thing outside. You can see, I can see one big dent right here. This here is just glazed down here, but right here is the only real dent I can see. Now, I'm sure there might be some small ones from hail from the years, but that's the only big one I got to work on. So I'll work on that before it goes out. But I like to push this outside so I can sand the whole thing. Any body work needs to be done to it. The sun will help bake it, get it done quick, and hopefully I can get it done in the same day, primed, and then get it back inside before she sits out in the weather. So the next thing to concentrate on is the rear trunk lid. This will be my next step. Kind of leaving that for now. This here, I got a lot of stuff to take off, but the biggest problem is this. Someone I think used a crowbar to open this door or trunk lid at one time, and this is just bent to pieces. So this is going to be a bit of work. The edge, the fine edge here is pretty good and pretty straight. I'm sure once I put the air file across it, I'll find something. Actually, right there, you can see there's a little dent there. But for the most part, that curve is good, and that's the curve I need to match. I'm going to have to try to get some kind of a template made up to go across here, because there's a, like, this is low. This is at least a ½ inch, quarter-inch low. This is dented in, and then this has all been rippled up and banged up. So I'm going to get it up on some what do you call those things? Sawhorses. Get on some sawhorses, take off the emblems and badges and stuff, and that's what I'll be concentrating on for the rest of this video. Well, trunk lid is taking a hard left turn. I have got this thing fully split open. I should have took some videos before I started beating on this thing. I do have a little bit over on my TikTok if you want to go check that out. But this whole back edge was bent down and punched in. And I've been working out here for quite a while trying to get this straightened out. Now, for the most part, I got these two planes kind of level, somewhat where they need to be. I ended up cutting the top edge of the metal off. Now, this would be the curl, the wrap from the outside skin that goes right around underneath there and kind of clamped it together to the inside frame of the trunk lid. So I cut that off, literally, with a knife. It was cracked already. I got the knife in there, and I could hit it along with a hammer, and this stuff is quite soft, actually, for what it is, and it just cut it right open. So I stopped on both ends about 6-8 inches in, about 6 here, about 8 on that side, because the end of the trunk's lids were perfect. When it was on the car, everything was great. Now you could kind of see the curve I'm trying to make here. It's really bad. This is so banged up on old canned. Like, this thing was punched pretty hard. I don't think it was just a crowbar getting in here. I think somebody run into something. This is quite rippled. So I'm going to concentrate on this edge. Once I get this edge back together intact, we're ignoring the fact that as I was bending it, this whole thing is wrought. We're going to ignore that for now. We're going to get this edge level and pinned all in, tackled it along. Then I can start working on this ripple here and trying to do this body work to smooth this out. Once this is kind of flat, no Bondo, but just flat to metal working, then I'm going to go back and look at either cutting out large sections of this and tack weld the new ones in, or do I replace the whole strip from here and then from here onwards. I got to stay away from the middle here. I got to do my best to save this. This is the punch to recess spot for that key lock. So I got to save that the best I can. But this is, see, it's pretty flexible. So I'm going to be able to work this a bit up and down. Right now it's kind of wavy, this part here. This edge is pretty flat. I got my big straight edge here right across it. So it's got a bow this way, of course, towards me in the middle, but the top is straight across. So I've been using my straight edge there, making sure that this is staying good, even though it's warped a little. And yeah, I'm going to pull the welder over. I'm going to start pushing this down, clean the metal up, clean some paint and rust off, pushing the metal down, just tacking this edge just to hold it straight so I can do my body work here, because this just keeps oil pan and popping in and out as I go, just because it's flimsy, right? It opens and closes as need be. So yeah, that's where I'm at. It's coming. Now, as I'm going back and forth on that trunk lid, I'm back over here. I ground out and sanded down the fender, And I've also done the rear quarter as well, just to kind of, go back and forth, keep things going. But I've also been busy outside as well, too. There's a lot going on these days. There's a lot. So if we come outside, we now have siding on the shop. So yes, the shop got siding. It's a dewy morning here. It's funny, you can see it's cold inside the shop. Like, it's staying really cold, and you can see every stud. It's kind of funny with the dew on there. But I've had this done for about a week now, and the hottest temperature I had on the surface of this has been 50 degrees Celsius, and not a ripple, not a thing. But as we come around the back here, you can see my siding has finished. This is all the siding I could get for the moment in this color. And yeah, got something else going on too. So along with the siding, I'm also prepping here for my carport. Now this side here, the 40-foot rung, is actually going to be a carport. It's going to be 40, and then I'm going to come out past it 6 foot. So I'll have a carport that's 12 by 46 long. Park the truck under and odds and ends, and that may get closed in over time. Then on the back here, the full width across, 24 feet, will be a 6-foot overhang, and then everything will be under there, like my my tiller, my mower, the loader for the tractor, which is up there when it's off. It'll all be undercover back here as well too. That's going to tidy this up. Tractor's actually basically sold. Guy driving by saw it, we chatted. He's pretty interested. Just got to fill up the tire with some air in the front tire, and it runs, flashes right up, and I think that's gone as well too. But I started by putting in this sill because I need to get my siding up to it, and I got to terminate it here against the bottom, and then really I can't do anything above this until we get the roof on. My parents are coming out to visit this summer, and that is the plan for me and my dad. And my next step for prep before they get out here is to get my posts cemented in here. So they'll be drilled, cemented in, get them all lined up and ready to put that overhang on. Now the weather's been great, so this has been up for a few days now. So I'm going to come out and I'm actually going to prime this both sides and paint it. I got a gray paint that matches the siding, so it'll help just protect a little bit. And also on this as well too, because I got all my lag bolts staggered and it's in holes in the wall now on every stud, I've actually gone through and I've caulked that top edge just to make sure no water gets down in behind that. But with that, it's time to get back onto this trunk lid. And I had to do a little tidy up. This was becoming a mess. My benches were a mess. It was just a mess all around. But I've worked this and beat on this as much as I can with this being loose. Everything now is starting to oil can and it's moving too much. So I'm going to take the wire wheel. I'm going to clean all the rust. Not a lot of rust on here, but clean the rust and the paint off on both sides and get this ready so I can start tacking this edge along. I'm going to get it all tacked in and kind of shaped where it needs to be. And once I got the right shape, I'm going to have to throw it on the car here to make sure everything's looking good. But once I'm good with the actual metalworking shape, then I'm going to come back and we're going to cut off the lips where all the rust is. We'll clean that off, weld in new panels, and hopefully when I'm done, the bodywork won't look too bad. No, this is going to be pretty noticeable. Anybody following you or walking by the car this is going to stand out like a sore thumb. So hopefully I can get it flat enough, do a good body job on it, and you never know. Maybe I have to buy a new one. Hope not. Hope I can save this. So far, everything's original to the car, and I really would love to keep it that way. Here we go. We got our first run of tacks, and I kept the curve the best I can. The two ends of this hood here were perfect, this trunk lid, when it was on the car, and they were lined up good, so I've left them alone. Right, when I did all my cutting, I made sure I started in a ways and kept that shape to it. But the trunk lid actually kind of dips out this way and kind of has a bit of a bevel this way to match the back of the 64. So I've kept this straight as I can, and it's got a nice little curve. And now that I got this all tacked in here where it's going to be, now I can start working on the inside here. I'm going to have a piece of wood that's going to have to go through and start working on this back. With it being supported up top here now, I can work on these dents. Whatever this, it wasn't just a crowbar that was used to open this trunk. You can see it was a large, right here, something really big they backed into. And this was a big dent down here, which I got mostly out. Still some here I got to work on. And this drops in quite a bit as well too. And then of course up along here. But I needed to get this tacked together so I can get a rod or something in behind there to kind of use a hammer to pop these dents out, because with this cut off, it just kept flapping and oil canning. And you can see better view of the rust here too. Like all this is going to be gone. Once I get this kind of half decently in shape, I'll weld the spots, the good spots well. We're going to put it on the car, make sure it lines up fairly decent. But I'm going to come back and basically all this is going to be cut out. Almost all of this lower edge is going to be cut out. And we'll weld in new piece of metal, body work it a little bit, put in some body fill, and hopefully when we're done, that'll be a nice smooth back end. All right, so I have reinstalled the trunk. And I just went back to start off, went back to the original marks where the bolts were on both sides. And just giving me a good place to start. So I got the old trusty door latcher in there. There she is. Oh, she's up high, like a ½ inch. So, and I'm almost bottoming out, so that latch definitely needs to be adjusted now. We're almost a ½ inch high. And yeah, you can see I got a lot. I got to come down here quite a bit. Now the gap in here, the body gaps in this car are big. They're regardless, right? If you look here, this is pretty much straight. It can, the whole thing can go that way a little bit, maybe a 1/16. But as we saw on all the doors and stuff on this thing, the body gaps are just huge. It just, I guess it's the way it was done then. It was crude. You know, it didn't have lasers and stuff to build things, all done by jigs and by hand. So this is, you know, this will have that big 1/4 inch gap as well. But that ½ inch that I'm raised up here, that's bottom out on, I need that to come down. And then I can tell I'm not out far enough. So the back of this car, starting at the middle, needs to pull out a little bit more to go all the way across. I probably, maybe a 1/4 inch. And now this is getting to the point where I'm going to have a hard time because I have nothing here to pull on. And I can't, I guess I could, but I don't want to pull on the hinges of the car. So this might have to come off again. I might have to get this tied down outside, maybe to my truck, and get a couple clamps on it with the tractor and just slowly tug this thing. Maybe take some measurements front to back, kind of along here, so I don't overdo it, but maybe just tug this trunk lid out. But that's where we're going to leave the video. It's been busy the last 3 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks since I put out a video here. You know, between work, vacation, took some time off there for a bit, and other things going on, little snippets that I do each evening. It's kind of hard to make a video for YouTube. It's much better in this format if I just kind of go through a few things and make sure I kind of fill that gap. So this is looking nice. With this fender completed, everything one color and smooth, I'm really liking the look of the back of this car. Now, I don't think it's going to take much to pull that out. Like I said, I'll probably tie this off to my truck and give her a little tug with the tractor. It'd be nice, get this flipped over. I can lay it out in the grass. I don't have to worry about damaging it. And I'll probably be grabbing, theoretically, if I put this is almost flat across here. So that's kind of the width I need to grab. I need something big, a big hook, you know, just like a big C, or I guess a J, that I can grab on there and just pull out about a 1/4 inch or so. And then once that's out, then I adjust the trunk deck to come down a little bit. Also, bringing that down on that side to help bring the whole thing down as well too. I think I'm going to have a good fit. But that is it for now. Like I said, it's been busy. It's been hot. Man, it's been hot out here on the prairies. And you saw the siding I had outside. Just give you a quick little show here. We did a little bit more work. Siding turned out great. No ripples or bubbles, even in the extreme heat. But I did get my sill plates in. So that's where the overhang, the carport, is going to be a kind of a cover over here for my equipment on the back. And of course on this side we'll have the carport that runs down the whole side of the garage. But as always, thanks for stopping by the watch. Thanks for the new subscribers. If this is your first time around here, why don't you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know what? We each can learn something as we go.